wedding had been Alex's dream, pieced together from stolen moments in New York newsrooms where he'd first met Jordan. Alex, 28 and sharp as the lead stories he chased, had traded his rumpled trench coat for a tailored black tuxedo that hugged his lean frame. The silk tie a subtle rainbow, thread woven in defiance of the conservative crowd Evelyn had invited. Jordan, 30 and polished from years in corporate law, stood beside him in a matching suit, his broad shoulders tense under the weight of family expectations. Evelyn Hale, 52, loomed like a shadow in her emerald gown, pearls gleaming like accusations around her neck, her silver-streaked hair pinned in a chignon that screamed old money and older grudges. She was the queen of Baton Rouge real estate, her empire built on swampland deals that swallowed secrets as easily as alligators took prey. From the altar, a rustic arch of magnolias and live oaks, Evelyn had smiled through the ceremony, her lips thin as a razor. Alex had felt it then, the chill in her gaze. But love blinded him. Jordan's kiss had been fire, promising forever in the humid air thick with jasmine and jazz from a distant brass band. Guests, mostly Evelyn's blue blood allies, with a smattering of Alex's queer friends flown in from the city, had toasted with champagne flutes that caught the lightning flashes on the horizon. But as thunder rolled closer, Evelyn pulled Jordan aside, her voice a venomous hiss lost in the wind. "You can't do this, Mother," Jordan had pleaded earlier that week, pacing the marble-floored parlor of the Hale Plantation house. "Alex is my future. He's the one." Evelyn's laugh was brittle, like cracking ice. "Your future? That boy's a scandal waiting to happen. A journalist sniffing around my business. And gay to boot, the Hales have survived wars and floods. But not this embarrassment." Her eyes, steel gray, bored into him. "Marry him if you must, but in it tonight. The swamp takes care of its own." Jordan had wavered, his love for Alex warring with the invisible chains of legacy. Evelyn's empire wasn't just land. It was leverage, deals greased with bribes, properties acquired through threats, and one buried secret that could topple it all, a decade-old cover-up of a worker's death on her site, pinned on a scapegoat who vanished into the very bayou Alex now fought. The shove came swift. Two of Evelyn's associates, burly men in ill-fitting suits, their faces shadowed by fedoras, grabbed Alex as the reception tent emptied in the downpour. "Jordan," Alex gasped, twisting to see his husband's silhouette retreating toward the limo, Evelyn's hand firm on his arm. "It's for the best," Jordan muttered, not meeting his eyes. The door slammed, engine roaring to life as the men dragged Alex toward the water's edge, the wedding band still warm on his finger. "Please," Alex begged, his voice breaking over the rain. "Jordan, don't," a boot to his back, and he tumbled into the black water, the current yanking him under. Mud filled his mouth. Vines snagged his tuxedo like skeletal fingers. He surfaced once, coughing, glimpsing the taillights fading on the dirt road. Alligator's eyes glowed in the dark, and panic clawed his chest. This wasn't a prank. This was murder. He swam, or flailed, toward a cluster of cypress knees, jagged protrusions rising like tombstones. His lungs burned, tuxedo heavy as lead, but survival instinct kicked in. Alex had reported on disasters, hurricanes, oil spills, lives lost to indifference. Now he was the story. Grabbing a low branch, he hauled himself onto a mud bank, collapsing as exhaustion hit. Rain pelted his face, mixing with tears. Why? The question echoed, unanswered. Hours blurred into a haze. He stripped the sodden jacket, tying it around his waist like a lifeline. The swamp was alive, frogs croaking dirges, insects buzzing elegies. Dawn brought humidity that clung like guilt. Alex's phone was gone. Wallet too, but the ring glinted mockingly. He trudged through knee-deep water, thorns tearing his pants, until collapse claimed him again. Rescue came not from heroes, but from Marcus, a 35-year-old Cajun fisherman with calloused hands and eyes like smoked oak. Marcus poled his flatboat through the channels, casting lines for catfish, when he spotted the figure sprawled on the bank. "Mon Dieu," he muttered, tying off and wading in. Alex stirred at the touch, wild-eyed. "Easy. Share. You're safe now." Marcus's voice was gravel-rough, laced with Bayou French. He was broad-chested, in faded flannel and waders patched with duct tape, his dark hair tied back, beard streaked with gray from years battling floods and fate. A simple gold chain around his neck held a saint's medallion, St. Jude, patron of lost causes. Alex recoiled at first, then clung as Marcus half-carried him to the boat. "They tried to kill me," he rasped. "My wedding. My husband." Marcus didn't pry, just wrapped him in a wool blanket that smelled of salt and pipe tobacco. He pulled them to his shack on stilts, a ramshackle haven amid the mangroves. Inside, a pot-belly stove crackled, and Marcus brewed chicory coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Alex sipped, shivering in borrowed sweats too big for his frame. "You're Alex Thompson, ain't you?" Marcus said, scanning the morning news on a crackling radio. The story was already twisting. Groom vanishes in storm. Tragic accident. Alex nodded, throat tight. "Journalist. I was going to expose." "Chill. Rest first." Marcus's hand on his shoulder was steady, not pitying. There was something in that touch, warm, unspoken, that stirred Alex from the numbness. Days turned to weeks. Marcus nursed him with gumbo and ghost stories, teaching him to navigate the bayou's treacherous paths. Alex's wounds healed, but the betrayal festered. Letters from Jordan arrived via the mail boat, apologies scrawled in haste, excuses about Evelyn's influence. Alex burned them one by one, the flames dancing like the doubts in his heart. Nights were hardest. Curled on the cot, Alex dreamed of Jordan's smile, then woke to Marcus's silhouette by the window, smoking and staring at the stars. "Why help me?" Alex asked one evening, as fireflies lit the porch like fallen wishes. Marcus shrugged, exhaling smoke. "Seen too many lost souls to the water. And you got fire in you. Boy. Reminds me of someone I couldn't save. That someone was Etienne, Marcus's lover. Lost to the swamp a decade back, drowned in a freak accident on one of Evelyn Hale's construction sites. Etienne had been a laborer, whispering to Marcus about unsafe conditions, bribes to inspectors. Then, silence. The official report, negligence. But Marcus knew better. He'd seen the fear in Etienne's eyes before that last shift. As Alex shared his own suspicions, Evelyn's shady deals, the worker's death she'd buried, bonds formed. Not just survivor to savior, but man to man. Marcus's laugh was rare, But when it came, it warmed the damp air. Alex found himself lingering over shared chores. The brush of arms igniting sparks long thought extinguished. One twilight, as they mended nets on the dock, Alex's hand covered Marcus's. "I thought love was a lie," he whispered. Marcus turned, his gaze holding depths of old pain and new hope. "It ain't. Just gotta find the right current." Their first kiss was salt-tinged, fierce against the hum of cicadas. It wasn't romance from fairy tales, but raw, real, two men pieced from wreckage, finding solace in the storm's aftermath. Yet vengeance simmered. Alex, ever the journalist, began piecing clues from Marcus's tales and his own half-remembered files. Evelyn's secret wasn't just greed, it was blood. The worker Etienne had died covering for her embezzlement, his body dumped to silence witnesses. Jordan knew, had known, and chosen silence for the inheritance. "I can't let it stand," Alex told Marcus one dawn, packing a duffel with his salvaged tuxedo jacket, now a symbol of rebirth. Marcus nodded, pressing a knife into his hand, practical, etched with bayou runes. "Go. But come back. This place. It's home now." Alex's return to Baton Rouge was a ghost arrival. 2 years had carved him leaner, harder, his once boyish face etched with lines from sun and sorrow. He rented a dingy motel room under a false name, blending into the city's underbelly as a freelance writer. The wedding scandal had faded. Jordan and Evelyn spun it as a runaway groom tale, their engagement photos scrubbed from social feeds. But Alex watched. From shadows, he trailed Jordan to courtrooms, noting the hollow in his ex's eyes, the flask hidden in his briefcase. Evelyn, ever the spider, wove her web tighter, snapping up more swampland while whispers of her ruthlessness grew. The exposure began small, anonymous tips to old contacts, leaked docs from public records. A blog post here, a podcast snippet there, drip-feeding the truth. The Hail Air, legacy built on lies, one headline read, veiled enough to evade lawsuits, but sharp enough to sting. Evelyn struck back. Of course. Private eyes dogged Alex's steps, cars tailing too close on I-10. One night, in a French Quarter alley reeking of beignet and bourbon, they cornered him, thugs with brass knuckles and Evelyn's accent in their drawls. "You should have stayed dead," the leader snarled. Alex fought dirty, Marcus's knife flashing in the gaslight. He drew blood, escaped with a gash across his ribs. But the message was clear, she was closing in. Word reached Jordan. In a panic, he drove to the motel, pounding on the door at midnight. Alex opened it, face impassive, the scar on his cheek a new map of survival. "Alex, God, it's you." "I thought." Jordan's voice cracked, suit rumpled, eyes red-rimmed. "You thought wrong." Alex stepped aside, not inviting, but not slamming the door. Jordan collapsed onto the bed, spilling confessions like cheap wine. "Mother. She made me. Said you'd ruin us, that you were digging too deep. The worker, Etienne, she paid me to forget. But I never stopped loving you." Alex's laugh was bitter. "Love? You watched them drown me." Jordan wept, reaching out for a heartbeat. Alex wavered, the old pull, the what-ifs. But then Marcus's face flickered in his mind, steady as the bayou's pulse. He pulled away. Too late. The truth's coming. Jordan, with or without you. As Jordan fled into the night, Alex phoned his editor contact. It's time. Full story drops tomorrow. The article hit like a hurricane. Swamp of secrets. How Evelyn Hale buried a man and nearly another. Photos. Affidavits. Witness statements Marcus had quietly gathered from Old Bayou folk. Etienne's name led the charge. His story resurrected. Protests erupted outside Hale properties. Queer activists linking arms with laborers, chanting for justice. The feds circled, subpoenas flying. Evelyn barricaded in her mansion, but cracks showed. She called Jordan, voice shrill over speakerphone as he paced Alex's motel, uninvited, desperate for absolution. Fix this. Deny it all. I can't. Mother. Jordan's hand shook. Alex. He is proof. And Etienne God. What we did. Her rage peaked. That faggot and his dead lover, they'll burn for this. But the burn came for her. Reporters swarmed the gates, drones capturing her ashen face at the window. In a final gambit, she summoned Alex, alone, to the plantation, the same parlor where vows had fractured. He arrived at dusk, the air heavy with azaleas masking decay. Evelyn sat regal, bourbon in hand, her gown a crimson echo of blood. You've poisoned my son, she sneered. But you'll never take the Hale name. Alex met her gaze, unflinching. It's not about names. It's about lives. Etienne's. Mine. The ones you'll never own. She lunged then, a letter opener glinting. But Alex was faster. Years in the swamp had honed him. He twisted her wrist, the weapon clattering. It's over. Sirens wailed as arrests unfolded. Evelyn, handcuffed in the foyer, spat venom till the end. Jordan turned state's evidence. His testimony a tear-streaked unraveling in court. Love's cowardice laid bare. Through it all, Alex testified, voice steady, weaving facts with a human cost. The jury wept at Etienne's photos. Projected large, a young man with Marcus's eyes, smiling by the water. Verdict, guilty. Evelyn's empire crumbled. Assets seized. Her legacy a cautionary tale in headlines from New Orleans to New York. In the bayou's quiet aftermath, Alex returned to Marcus's shack. The fisherman waited on the porch, pipe glowing like a beacon. No words at first, just embrace. Bodies fitting like puzzle pieces long separated. You did it, Marcus murmured, fingers tracing the scar. We did. Alex pulled back. Ring gone, but heart full. Marry me? For real this time. No swamps. No secrets. Marcus grinned. That rare light breaking through. Share. I've been yours since the first net we mended. Their wedding was simple, under the cypress. Friend from city and bayou mingling. Vows exchanged with the river's whisper as witness. No mothers-in-law. Just love, fierce, unyielding. A testament to survival's grace. In the years that followed, Alex wrote their story not as tragedy, but triumph. Books sold, speeches inspired, but home was the shack upgraded with solar panels, where Marcus taught their adopted son to pole a boat, and Alex chased leads that healed rather than harmed. Love, it turned out, wasn't a fragile vow in the rain. It was the current that carried you through the dawn, emerging stronger on the other side.